Hey y'all, it's Alex Vanover. Welcome back to DIY Alex. I am so excited to craft our next mystery box craft today. This happens to be one of my favorites from the box, so I literally cannot wait to get started. Let me jump over to your comments so I can see what everyone is saying. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know that you can hear me okay and see me okay when you start watching this, so that I know that our connection is all good to go. Bring this a little bit closer here, and we'll check out your comments. Hello, hello. Oh my goodness, y'all. There's so many comments already. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Roseanne. Welcome, welcome. Brenda says, afternoon from snowy Ohio. I know. How crazy. We are ready for some sun as well. And actually, we have had a pretty sunny day today, but I haven't been outside, so I don't know how cold it is. Hey, Kristen. Hey, Elizabeth. Hi, Dee. I know, Dee, that's what I was thinking. I hope we don't get that snow from Ohio. Oh, goodness. Oh, I know. The weather is always a hot topic this time of year. Welcome, Candace. Hey, Barbara, welcome. Hey, Renee. Goodness, y'all, I feel like I have so much to catch up on since you guys have been here. Let me know if you can hear me okay and see me okay. Oh, yes, the shirt contest. Okay, so before we get into things, keep in mind that the shirt contest does conclude on Friday. So you have to have your shirt made for the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box and posted by Friday, April 22nd, 2022, in order to be considered for the $25 giveaway, gift card giveaway to 143 Vinyl. The 143 team will be picking those this weekend. Oh my goodness, y'all. I'm going to have to jump down all the way to the bottom. I don't have time to read all of your comments. Goodness, I may have to grab my computer. I'm trying to read my comments through my iPad, which would be the fancier, better way to do it. But I can't see like how many people are here and so many different funny things. Yay! Tia still got her mystery box from her desk. Yes, absolutely. Good deal. I'm so glad the connection is looking good. Oh no, Jill, are you still waiting for your box? Jill, are you in Canada? If I remember correctly, you said you were in Canada, so it may be a little bit different. Stephanie said, did you darken your hair? I did not, Stephanie. I don't know why my hair looks so dark today. Maybe because I put it back in a braid so you guys can just see my really long grown out roots. I don't know. But I thought it looked really dark today too. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, good. I'm so glad our connection is good. If you guys joined us last week on Friday, we had some nightmare issues with connection. So I'm so glad that it's looking good. So exciting. Hey, Catherine, how are you? Cheryl said, what time does it end? It's not necessarily a time thing, Cheryl. So I guess as long as you post it by the end of the day on Friday, April 22nd, then early the week after that, the 143 team is going to be voting on your projects and picking the winners. So it's just a deadline for you to post about that. You can learn more about that in my HTV on a t-shirt video that I posted or went live on Friday. It's also in the letter from your mystery box. So if you have a mystery box, which is how you enter the contest, then you can read all about it in the letter. Good deal. All right, guys, now we are going to get started into this project because it's going to be super fun, but it's probably going to be a little bit of a long one. We are going to be making the spring door hanger from the mystery box, and I've got all my supplies, hopefully, as much as I remembered, here in this box. But because there were a couple of things we had to do in Design Space, I recorded two different Design Space things. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I hope that I added those into the live. Give me just a second here, see if I can add those in. Oh boy. Hold on just a second. Let me see if I can figure that part out. Oh my goodness, y'all. I recorded them for you, and I don't know that I kept them. Hey, Emily, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Oh, goodness, my friends. Okay. I recorded the, oh, wait a minute. I think I can do it here. Hold on. I think we might be in the golden because I recorded design space portions for you, but I usually add them in before the live. So let's see if we can do it while we're on the live. Here is one. That's good news. And then here is the other one. Yay! Okay. And the reason that I like to do screen captures for some of this stuff is because I know, especially if you're new, it can be a little bit complicated to set things up in Design Space the right way so that you get the results that you want. So I recorded 2 different sections of the screen capture for us just to make sure that you guys could see everything. Hang on just a second here. I think these last 2 are the newest ones. Let's see if I can fix this. Sorry, y'all. I'm a little bit, not that I'm not a hot mess every day, because Lord knows I'm pretty much always a hot mess in some form or fashion. But I taught a 2-hour Cricut class earlier today, and my allergies have absolutely been handing me my behind. It has been really, really rough the last few days with allergies. So I taught a 2-hour Cricut class earlier today, and then I also scheduled myself to go live today. So I knew what I was thinking, that I wanted to do a video this afternoon because it's Tutorial Tuesday, but that was maybe not my wisest scheduling choice. So we're gonna hope that my voice hangs on through all of this. I feel completely fine. It's just allergies. Alrighty. Oh, that's so interesting. Sherry said she just got an alert that Dollar Tree and Dollar General hot glue guns are being recalled. So there's some information for you, something you might want to look into if that is where your glue gun is for. Hey, Catherine, she said, are you able to give us a better time of when the lives are going to be? I keep missing them. So, Catherine, I actually posted the time for this one at like 10:30 this morning. So I am scheduling the lives several hours in advance before the live starts. If you check my YouTube channel or if you check any of my social media, you should be able to find some information there. But my schedule keeps changing, so I'm not able to give you a time any earlier than the day of, but you do have several hours notice on my YouTube channel before the live gets started. Okay, so now that we have all the things, Catherine said, is that 2-hour Cricut class available to all of us? Where would we find it? Yes, Catherine, I talk about this all the time over on my social media. So it sounds like you need to make sure that you're following me in my group and over on Instagram if you have Instagram. So the Cricut classes that I teach are totally free to everyone, and you can sign up for them at learn.cricut.com. That's where you sign up for them, and you sign up for that class using, or you sign into the website using your Cricut ID. So that's just the ID that you use to sign in to Cricut Design Space. And then you can see the full schedule there. I teach most of the Cricut 101 classes on Mondays, and then I teach an occasional Tuesday at like noon Eastern time. So it kind of depends. Not all the classes are taught by me by any means. Those are just the ones that I usually teach. And Tuesdays are a little bit rare, so they're a lot more likely to be taught by me if I teach them on Mondays. That's definitely when I'm always doing a Cricut class, but I sometimes also have a Tuesday early afternoon class that you can find on learn.cricut.com. All right. Yep, Kristen said allergies have been rough. They sure have been for me. And my allergies kind of wane. Some years it's really rough. Some years it's not quite as bad. But man, it has been a real struggle bus for sure. All right, y'all, well, I'm going to go ahead and roll the first section of the Design Space tutorial that I recorded for you. So just as a reminder, or in case you're new here, I'm going to go ahead and play that pre-recorded screen capture over top of the video. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my microphone. You guys won't be able to hear me in real time. This is what I recorded earlier. But if you need anything or you have any questions, be sure to tell me in the comments because I can still see the comments as they are rolling. So give me just a second, and this actually, I need to look at this. It may actually be the wrong one. So give me a second. I'm going to play one of them and hope that it's the right one. So let's get started on our spring door hanger. The first step that you need to do is you need to import the SVG file that you're going to be using. If you received the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box, then you can download the Hello Spring SVG file because that's what we are going to be using. If not, of course, you can use any SVG that you'd like. Then I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this project, and then I will show you an alternative to do this project if you didn't receive a Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box. So in order to separate the layers, I'm going to go ahead and ungroup them. And then I'm going to click the eyeball in the layers panel to hide the spring for now. Then I'm going to concentrate on this hello. After looking at my blank, I decided that I want to make my hello a little bit smaller. So I'm going to change the width to 4 inches wide and then press enter. And then the only thing that I am going to cut out of my stencil is the word hello, because I'm going to stencil that onto my door hanger. And then I'm going to be using the 3D wood cutout spring that came in the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box. But if you did not receive a Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box and you still want to give your door hanger a 3-dimensional look, here's what I would recommend that you do. First, I would recommend you pick something really simple that's all one piece, kind of like this, like the way that the eye is welded to the top, or the dot on the eye is welded to the top of the spring is going to make this a lot easier. But you could pick any SVG file that you want, and in order to create a 3-dimensional look for the word spring, I recommend that you cut this out of multiple layers of cardstock, and then glue them on top of each other so that you can get that 3D look similar to the wood cutout. So I would just use the duplicate function here on the layers panel, and I would duplicate it probably at least 5 times to give it a little bit of lift. But if you're wanting a super 3-dimensional piece, kind of similar to the way that it looks now with the wooden piece, then I would say I would duplicate it closer to like 10 times. Then you would just cut all of the spring pieces out of cardstock. I would probably use all the same color. And then you could glue them on top of each other and it would look just like a 3-dimensional spring. So that's my recommendation to you if you did not get a box. Personally, I'm going to be using Hello cut out of Star Mask 900 stencil material, and then I'm going to paint my 3-dimensional wood spring. So I'm not cutting any of that out of vinyl, just this little guy right here. So then once you have your project the way that you like it, you can click the green Make It button. And then I'm going to choose on a mat since I'm going to be using Star Mask vinyl. And because I'm going to be cutting this out of stencil vinyl, I like to have a bit of a border around my whole stencil to make sure that I don't get paint onto my blank. So I'm going to drag this down until it meets at the 1-1 intersection here on the mat. That way I have about 1 inch on the sides and I can cut it a little bit wider than that. So I have plenty of room around my stencil. Then I'll click the green Continue button. And once your machine connects, then you can choose the cut setting that you want to use for your stencil vinyl. I personally have found that the regular vinyl setting works great for me, but you could also use the premium vinyl removable matte setting if you prefer. So now I'll cut the stencil out of my Star Mask 900 and we'll get started on this door hanger. All right, y'all, we are back. So hopefully that helped you understand a little bit better about how to cut stencil vinyl because I'm going to be stenciling this part and then the rest of it is going to be painted. So we're using more paint than vinyl today, but I wanted to be sure to show you that part in case you've never worked with Star Mask stencil before. And I literally just cut it while you guys were watching that. So how cool is that? Catherine said, what about using craft board instead of cardstock? Absolutely, that would work actually great. And that would be a lot thicker, so you would have to use a lot less layers. So that's actually a fantastic idea, Catherine. I like it. Also, guys, I'll just go ahead and apologize now. I had to stick a cough drop in my mouth, again, to ensure that my voice makes it through the whole video today. So if you hear that, like, kind of hitting my teeth, I'm sorry. It's not normally something I would do while I was making a video, but you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Make sure you can make it. All right, and I'm going to get my computer ready for when we do the next section of Design Space. We're not going to do that just yet, though. We're going to get a little further in the project before I roll the second section of our design space screen capture. Alrighty. Oh yeah, Kaylin Orton said you could also use chipboard. That's true. If you have chipboard and you have a Cricut Maker, then you could definitely use chipboard as your other option for creating three-dimensional pieces and elements to your door hanger. And technically, you could do the whole thing three-dimensional. If you wanted to cut it all out of chipboard, you could do it that way. There are just honestly tons of different ways that you could do it. So that's all set up, and I'm actually going to open up the comments here on my laptop also so that I can respond back to you guys, because I know a couple of you asked for the link to the Cricut classes, so I can't type unless I have it open. Let me grab you that link, and then we're going to get started with this project. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in the comments for you guys for the free Cricut classes. Feel free to sign up. Definitely read the description to see what is good for each of you, because depending on your skill level and your comfort level, it will kind of depend. The classes do change based on the season as well. So you'll definitely want to pay attention to this calendar on a regular basis. Oh, interesting. Kayla said I'm quiet today. Like my microphone's far away. Interesting. I don't know why. I wonder, you know what? I can bump it up a little bit more too. Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that, Catherine. Thanks for the suggestion. It's always good to hear what you guys think about it too, because my mind immediately went to cardstock. But I like that you guys have other ideas and thoughts too, because I don't always think of the best way to do things on the first try by any means. Okay, hang on. I'm going to bump up my microphone a little bit and see if this helps. How's that sound? Is that any louder? Let me know in the comments. Yes, and if you guys are not familiar with Star Mask, I'll show you guys in just a second, but it's the mint looking vinyl, and it actually does say Star Mask by Starcraft on the back. So that's 3 sheets of stencil vinyl, because we are going to use it in several different projects actually for this box. So I just went ahead and pinned the free Cricut classes link to the top of the chat, so hopefully that will help. Okay, good. I'm so glad that it sounds better. I'm a little bit paranoid from our live on Friday. I just want to make sure that I sound okay. All right, and then I also have some flowers that I will work with in a few minutes. When you cut a whole sheet of flowers, it looks like this, and it's a little bit crazy. So actually, so that I don't accidentally throw any flowers away, because it's super easy to do, let me pull these out, and then we'll get started with stenciling. Good, good, good. Joy wants to know the free classes you highlighted, who teaches them? You, Cricut. So I teach the classes through Cricut, but I'm not the only teacher. There are several other people that they call Cricut coaches, which is a super cute name. But the classes are sponsored by Cricut, but as of right now, they're totally free. Anyone can take them from anywhere. You'll just have to make sure that, of course, they work with your time zone and things like that. But they are a super invaluable resource. If you guys have never heard of them, or if you haven't heard me talk about them, they are wonderful, especially if you're brand new. I highly recommend starting with Cricut 101. If you're super advanced, I don't know that you need to spend time in Cricut 101, but it is a super, super helpful class with lots of great resources. We focus on basically just completing a finished project. So it is very basic, it's very low level, but you do get a full tour of Design Space. Or, you know, a relatively full tour. I mean, we can never show you everything in an hour and a half, but you get to learn a lot about Design Space in an hour and a half. And then Cricut 102, which is what I taught today, is a 2-hour class. And in that class, we focus more on the actions panel, which is at the bottom of the layers panel. It includes weld, attach, and group. Weld, attach, and group are our main focuses for Cricut 102, so also super helpful. Definitely highly recommend there. Oh yeah, Ruth attended one of my classes. She said, had a great time doing the class that Alex taught. Thanks, Ruth. I'm glad you liked it. Okay. So Doggy wants to know, you said we need a Cricut login for the class. What if we have a different cutter and want to join? Is that possible? I would just go ahead and create a Cricut ID on Cricut.com. It's totally free to do. All it is basically just a free login. So if you want to take the class, even if you don't have a Cricut cutter, I don't think it's a bad idea. Just create a free Cricut ID on Cricut.com and you'll be able to do that. So I'm glad we had a chance to talk about this because it's possible that I may not have mentioned it here on YouTube. I feel like I talk about it 24/7, but that just may be over on social media. All right, let's set these mats aside and dive into this project. Of course, you're welcome. I do too, Dee. I'm always learning new things. Absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes it's good to hear so when you listen to me teach this class, it sounds a little bit different than typical DIY Alex because I am literally teaching it as a Cricut instructor. So it's a little bit of a different voice for me than what you guys are used to. But honestly, I think that sometimes the Cricut answer, because they're the ones who design Design Space, is a great way to learn what they are hoping that you get from Cricut. Do you know what I mean? I literally, in Cricut 102, I literally give you slides with definitions on them of what the functions do and things like that. So even if you already know some of these functions, it still may be helpful for you to hear what Cricut has to say about them. Do you know what I mean? Because we follow, I don't follow an exact script or anything, but we follow a curriculum that is designed by Cricut. I love that. Ashley is using, hey Ashley, thanks for joining me, by the way. I saw your name pop up during the Design Space portion. She said, I need to use my Cricut more. It's collecting dust right now. Ashley has a Glowforge and she is learning lots about that. So that's awesome. Catherine, they are live classes. All the classes that Cricut offers currently are live, but you do receive a an edited replay afterwards. So it's not the exact same recording of your session, but we have sessions of all the classes that are pre-recorded and edited down. So they're a little bit shorter. And you receive that after the class is over. So lots of cool stuff for sure. I'd love to have you guys over there. I'd love to see you over there. I just think it's a really, really great resource. And I think it's really generous that Cricut offers free classes because how many organizations do you know that offer free classes to use their machines? You know, it's super cool. Awesome. Okay, so now that we've seen the Design Space portion, let's go ahead and talk about this stencil. Now, I am super passionate about Star Mask stencil vinyl. Like I said, if you got the the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box, then you got 3 sheets of the Star Mask 900, and you know that it's Star Mask because it says Star Mask by Starcraft. This is specifically stencil vinyl. Now, do you specifically need stencil vinyl to stencil? No, you don't. You can use regular vinyl if you want to. But I do like that stencil vinyl has a little bit of a gentler adhesive. It's more of a removable adhesive, which is really, really convenient. Whereas if you use something like StarCraft HD, then it's going to have a permanent adhesive because that's what it's intended to do. So sometimes it can be a little bit harsh, especially on things like wood. It can pull up paint and it can kind of pull back some of the layers of the wood. So sometimes it's nice to use stencil vinyl because it just makes it really, really convenient. And honestly, guys, I've tried a couple brands of stencil vinyl, not a ton. But before Star Mask was launched by StarCraft, I never used stencil vinyl. Never, ever. I would just use regular vinyl or even removable vinyl for my stencils. But I love this stuff. It's so easy to weed. As you saw, I just cut it on the regular vinyl setting, which is so stinking convenient. I just absolutely love it. So I highly, highly recommend it. So all I did to weed my stencil vinyl, as you can see, as I cut an extra piece around this so that there's plenty of space so that my paintbrush doesn't accidentally slip off the side and add some paint where I don't want it. But I just did what's called reverse weeding. So I removed the middle parts of the letters that you would normally keep, and that's what we use, or that's what we do commonly with stenciling. Then I'm just going to add at least the center part to some transfer tape. And I'll cut it off, and then I'll show you where I'm going to place my stencil on my door hanger. So I'm just gonna burnish it like I normally would. And as you can see, I did not cover the sides completely with my transfer tape, and that's okay. All I really need to cover is that middle part, because that's the area that we are making sure that we transfer. We wanna make sure that like the center of our O doesn't get lost. But now I'm gonna set this aside and I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna set up my door hanger and where exactly I'm going to place my stencil. Let's see. Sandy said, do I teach any classes on creating SVGs? So currently, Sandy, I don't. But in Cricut 102, the focus of our class is learning to make your own designs using Design Space. So if you guys are familiar with Design Space, you already know that you can't export anything from Design Space. So if you create a design, other than taking a screenshot of it, there's no way to like export it from Design Space. But if you're interested in creating SVGs so that you can use them yourself, Cricut 102 might be a good class for you. Kristen loves Star Mask. Yeah, me too, girl. Me too. Oh, hey, Linda. I'm so glad that you made it. Yay. Jessica said, what is that thing you're putting your vinyl in? Are you talking about this, Jessica? This is just a little bin that I have underneath my heat press table, and I just needed a place to store all of my crazy materials for this project because there's a bunch of them. And this is just a Pillow Fort, that's the kids brand, a Pillow Fort bin that I got from Target. And it just matches all of my ones behind me. This one's just white with gold polka dots. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to lay out my door hanger because I want to do this before I do anything else. So this is the door hanger blank that you got in the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box, but I did go ahead and link. So I know that not all of you watching this video got the mystery box, so I linked everything that I could possibly find in the description for you, so that we could so that you could recreate this project if you did not get a mystery box. So be sure to check that out if you did not get a mystery box. But this particular blank, this is, I think it's a 12-inch wood round, but I can't exactly remember. It's either like 11 or 12 inches with the holes at the top. This one was exclusive to the mystery box, and so was this wooden spring. But the reason that I need to lay this out before I stencil hello on there is because I'm going to create a line of paint above spring, and I want hello to sit right on that line. So I need to mark where that's going to be. So I'm just laying everything out, and then I'm going to kind of get an idea of where I want to put that line at. And then I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I'm not going to worry about getting it exactly right. But I think I'm going to put hello right about there. I think that looks like a good spot for it. Yeah, I think I like that. Actually, now I just messed it all up. Y'all, talk about a hot mess today. That is a lot of time to be on live video, and usually I'm a trooper, but sometimes I just get tired. And today I'm a bit tired, but that's all right. That's all right. We can make it through tired. All right, so I'm going to line spring back up. I'm going to plan. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put a painter's tape line right about here, and I'm going to paint this bottom portion. So I'm trying to figure out where that line is going to be so I can figure out where I want to place my hello. And I think I forgot like a pen or something to mark it with. So I'm just going to put a little tiny line from my pen right here into the wood. And in fact, I'm going to mark it in a couple of places so that it's a little bit easier for me to find again and so that I can keep my painter's tape straight. But we're not going to put the painter's tape on yet because we need to put the stencil on first and get that all dry before we do the rest. So my goal is to put hello just above that line. Like maybe right there. And then I'll double check that it's straight before I kind of burnish it down, and it's not. So I need to adjust it a little bit. That's the beautiful thing though about a removable adhesive. I just noticed that with like StarCraft HD, especially on thin pieces of wood like this, it tended to really kind of pull some of the wood up when I was working on different projects and stuff. So I do really like the nice gentle adhesive that Star Mask has because you're not as concerned about it. I don't know, guys. Is that straight? It's hard to tell. Hey, Cindy, welcome. So glad that you're here. Kristen said, did you do anything to the wood first, such as Pure Coat? So Kristen, I did not. Let me tell you a little discovery that we've made about Pure Coat, because I really wanted to include Pure Coat in your, I really wanted to include Pure Coat in this box, like really bad. You can ask Heather. I begged and pleaded and really, really wanted to, but they actually found with some Pure Coat projects that this wood is a little bit thin for Pure Coat, and it did cause like a little bit of, I don't know what the right word is, like distorting with the wood. So we decided to just let you guys use Mod Podge as a sealer. I'm holding it straight up to see if it's straight. You guys, I cannot get this straight for the life of me. Does that look straight to you? Tell me in the comments. Does that look straight? I feel like it's really crooked, but I'm not positive. You guys tell me. Yes, I did link the iVine Weeding Berry in the description for you guys in case you have never seen it before, because I absolutely love mine. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's straight. I'll wait for your comments to come in, but I'm like pretty sure that's straight. What do you guys think? You tell me. Actually, yeah, can you tell from here? I think you can. Does that look straight to you? Or am I crooked? Measure from the hole down, that may work. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. I'm just gonna hold a ruler across. Yeah, see, it is a little bit straight. It's not like bad, but it is a little bit crooked. I'm glad I asked. Okay. So let's put a ruler across here. So I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. Sorry if that makes it a little hard to see. And then I'm gonna push it up a little bit. I'm just going to lay it. I'm going to use the lines on my self-healing mat, and I'm going to line up my ruler with those lines. And then I should be able to line it up. Whoop. Mostly straight like that. I had actually, you guys, I have a confession to make. I had planned to record this video because I thought it would probably be an easier project if it was recorded. And then I ran out of time. So that's why this project is like a little bit of a hot mess, because I had planned to record out all of like the stuff, or edit out all the stuff of me being like, is that straight? I don't know. But here we are live, because that's real life and it happens to all of us, including me. Okay. Thanks, guys. That's true. That's definitely true. Okay, so I think that we are better now. Oh, you guys, I swear. Nope, it's not right. Okay, give me just a second. I'm going to grab a pencil. And we're going to make some lines on my blank so that I can get this straight. Okay, we're going to try again. Start over. So spring is going to go here. And we want to leave a little bit of space there. This was the line that I wanted to put my paint on. And actually, I think I'll just draw a whole line. And then when I do that, I'll know if the line is straight, and so that I can place my stencil straight. So first I'll line up my lines, or my holes at the top, and then might even use the camera a little bit to see from a bird's eye view perspective. There we go. And then I'm just going to draw a line across where I want to paint. And then I'll know where to put my painter's tape also. There. Thank goodness I didn't follow those marks because they're all kinds of messed up. Okay. So now that I have that line, I can follow it to add my stencil on. There we go. All right. I think we're in business, folks. And if not, we're going with it. So that's going to have to work. Okay. Candace said, many of my items come out crooked. Mine too, Candace. I mean, honestly, in real life, I mean, of course, my edited videos are still me, but they're just the much more refined version of me. The regular Alex is a crafter just like you. In case you were ever confused, I'm just like everyone else. My lines get crooked, I get stuff messed up, I doubt myself, I overthink the placement on my t-shirts all the time. I'm just like the rest of you. Yes, I am left-handed. Oh, you're asking Kristen. Kristen's left-handed too? Yeah. Things are always a little crooked with me here too. Okay, so now that we have the stencil on, and actually I'm really glad that I have that pencil line because now I know exactly where I want everything. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little Mod Podge, and I'm actually going to paint a little bit of Mod Podge all the way over top of my stencil. That way, if there's any gaps underneath my stencil, it's covered with Mod Podge, and that kind of seals up the gaps or the holes so that my paint will have a much better coat. There are some people who say you don't need to do this, and is it absolutely required? Honestly, probably not. But the thing about stenciling directly onto wood like this is that wood is super porous, okay? So that's an interesting lesson with vinyl. Wood is super porous, and so vinyl inherently does not stick to wood very well. That's why you normally have to like coat the wood with something so that the vinyl will stick, because you have to seal up those pores in order for the vinyl to stick well directly to wood. So I especially like to do Mod Podge on stuff like that because I know that the vinyl is not going to seal very well. And so there's a good chance that my stencil is going to have some gaps in it. So painting Mod Podge over top of it first is a really, really big help. And you'll notice I just did a super thin coat of Mod Podge. I didn't do like a big, huge coat. It's just enough to seal in any holes or any gaps that I may have in my stencil. So then once that dries, then we'll go ahead and stencil. And I'm going to just be using black acrylic paint. So while that is drying, I need to grab a couple of things. This is a stenciling brush that I'm going to be using. It's a flat bottom brush, and it works best for stenciling because we're going to do a process of what's called stippling. So we're just going to kind of dab it on there using a flat bottom brush. A lot of people will just paint over with a paintbrush, and that's not necessarily wrong, but technically you are supposed to use a stippling brush with a flat bottom and dot it in like this. So that's important. That's going to be black on the hello, and then I'm going to paint the bottom section of this white using StarCraft white chalk paint, which also came in your box, but I need to choose a color for spring using acrylic paint so we can start painting that. And I totally forgot. So, what color do we want to do? I guess I could just do black. I could just keep it like black and white, because then I'm going to have rolled paper flower color up at the top. But that just doesn't feel right. Black and white for a spring project doesn't really feel right to me. I feel like you have to have some color. So let's do maybe some blush. Okay, hold on. We're going to use just chalk paint. Let's use black, blush, or mint chalk paint. Which color do you guys think would look better with spring? Either blush or mint. Let me know. And of course, you guys can use your acrylic paint of choice. You can utilize the colors that came in the mystery box, or you can use your own colors. That's right, lefties do rock. Oh, Ashley's a lefty too. And Jill. That's awesome. Dawn said, will permanent vinyl stay in lieu of stencil paint? So, Dawn, a lot of times permanent vinyl like will be okay, but for the long term, the best way to put vinyl on wood is to seal it first using something like polyurethane or polyacrylic, and then put your vinyl on top, and it will stay much longer. It will also last a lot longer in the outdoor elements that way. All right, let me come across here and grab something, because like I said, your girl is a hot mess express today, so we forgot all the things. Plus, this project just requires like a lot of stuff. So I was grabbing some medicine cups so I have a place to put some of my paint. Cindy says blush. Diana says mint. Ooh, yeah, that's a great question. What color are my flowers? So my flowers are going to be like some of this little medium blue. And then we have some blush. Now it's not going to be the same shade of blush. And then I have a little bit of lavender. Ooh, so actually, because these colors of blush are not going to be the same, I don't know how well you guys can see that because it's covered by my face. Since these colors of blush are not going to be the same, I think I may actually go with mint. That way I don't look like I'm trying to match any color. You know what I mean? Because when the colors are not exactly the same, I feel like things look like they don't match. When everything's a different color, then I feel like you never even really notice. You know what I mean? Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and start stenciling the black. So this is just black acrylic paint, nothing fancy. But feel free to use your own colors as well. I just wanted to make sure you guys were covered with the very basic colors. But you're welcome to use other colors if you don't want to use the black and white included in the box. Okay, so we'll put this over here, and then I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of black acrylic paint into my medicine cup. We shouldn't need a ton, so I may need more, but we can always add more, but we can't put it back, right? Guys, give me one more second before I stencil. I'm going to go plug in my phone, which is on that tripod over there, to make sure that we don't die midstream, because how sad would that be? Just a second. My poor phone gets a lot of use as a camera as much as it gets use as a phone. I burn through iPhones like nobody's business. Like I legit have to get a new phone like every year to a year and a half for the last couple of years that I've been doing this, because I use my phone so hardcore. The poor thing. Thanks, Dee. I'm glad you like it. Stephanie said, I painted the bottom half gray and left a tape line of natural wood and then the top part white. Ooh, I like that, Stephanie. That's a great idea. I'm going to leave the spring the natural color, but was thinking of doing hello and blush or yellow. Love that. Yeah, and you could totally leave the spring all by itself. There's so many good options. Well, and the reason that I'm doing a black and white theme is more for the farmhouse effect than it is for the spring effect. So remember, the name of this box is the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box. So it's partially spring, but it's also partially farmhouse. And black and white is a very much a farmhouse thing to do. So now that I have my black paint on here, I'm just going to stipple it or dab it onto the stencil like this. And with this big chunky brush, you can see why I needed to leave extra room around my stencil, because if I didn't, I would definitely get paint everywhere. And it looks like we still got a little at the top, but that's okay. Okay. So that's all we are going to do there. I like to let my stencil dry a little tiny bit. Like, I don't want to let it dry completely by any means, but I like to let it dry a little bit before I pull it off, just because I make a mess if I don't. And actually, we're going to probably cover that up with paper flowers. So I got a little bit of splatter up above here, but we're going to fix all that here in just a little bit. Ooh, Tina said, I like to squirt my paints on a piece of parchment or paper. It's cheaper and not so much plastic. That's a good idea. Ooh, that's true. There's so many good options. Gosh, I just love it. Yeah, I always have to put my paint in something. I feel like I'm just like kind of OCD like that, I guess. Okay, so while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and start painting this spring. So I have some newspaper here. And let me move my little picture here so that you guys don't end up not being able to see anything. I think that looks a little better, don't you? Okay. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and paint this little beauty mint using my Starcraft chalk paint. If you haven't heard me talk about that yet, I'm obsessed with it. Absolutely obsessed with Starcraft chalk paint. That's why I gave you guys white. I wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to try it. And this shouldn't take really much at all since the word is so thin. Just enough to give it a fun pop of color. And then we may end up having to do a second coat. I definitely want to make sure that this thing stands out really well since it's going to be on white. We don't want to leave the color too thin because I want it to really, I want the contrast to really show through on the white. Also, I don't think my husband has any idea that I'm live right now. And he just got home. So it's possible that you guys could get a little guest appearance from Andrew if he decides to come in here and say hello to me. Usually, though, he never knows what I'm working on, so he usually lets me come out of here before he says anything to me when he gets home because he has no idea, like, when I'm filming or when I'm live. Sometimes I text him and remind him, and other times I'm just like, if he walks in, it'll be okay. All right. And you'll notice that I'm literally just using the paint from the lid. I don't need a ton of paint or anything. I'm not dipping my brush directly into the container. You totally could do that. It wouldn't hurt anything. But I like to try to use the paint out of the lid just because I feel like I don't drown my brush so much. If I dip it directly into the container, a lot of times I get way more paint than I actually need. And I end up kind of drowning my brush and ending up with too much. So that's why I usually like to work with the lid. Okay. So that's a really quick coat. I will probably do a second coat here in a couple of minutes, but now I think it's probably time to go ahead and remove the star mask. So I'll go ahead and just peel away most of it. And we got really lucky here with just using a really simple phrase. So it's really easy to just peel this away. But you guys see that? It peeled away so beautifully. And other than like a couple of splinters that were sitting on top of the wood, it did not pull any of the extra like wood away, which is one of the reasons why I absolutely love this stuff. So then all I need to do, even though it's going to make a little bit of a mess, that's okay. I'm going to take my pin pen weeding tool and just grab the center of my O and peel it away. I'll have to wipe off the end of my pin pen, but that's all right. And then I do have to wait for this to dry completely before I can put down my tape because I'm going to be putting tape over the hello. So I do also have my heat gun plugged in because I wanted to make sure we didn't spend a ton of time literally watching paint dry. So I may end up using my heat gun for some of this too. Hey, Sydney, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. That's okay. I'm so glad that you made it, Sydney. We have a long way to go on this sign. This is definitely not going to be a short one. Diana, I would love for you guys to meet Andrew. There's only one video on my YouTube channel where Andrew is present, and that is the tutorial where he is making the vinyl holder for my vinyl. He was so proud of that when he agreed to do that video. But my husband, you guys, he is the polar opposite of me. He is super introverted. He typically prefers to like hang out, like he's a homebody for the most part. And it's just really, really funny to see the contrast in between us. I would love for you guys to meet him, but I also respect that he is like not really kind of a video person. He's not like, he doesn't even have Instagram. So he's not really on social media a ton. Guys, what did I do with my paintbrush? Oh, there it is. I see a couple drips on my spring that I was going to go ahead and fix. Okay, so I can kind of see that there are some wet spots on my hello. I don't know how well you guys can see that or not, but I think I'm going to use my heat gun to help it finish drying so that I can put down a line and go ahead and paint the bottom of my door hanger. Hey, Mom, thanks for joining us. Kristen, you're fine. She said, we all need to leave everyone's spouses alone. Oh, thanks, Candace. Oh, yes, Trish, you should totally encourage your son to make a vinyl holder. It's awesome. It's awesome. So, Catherine, you can't reuse stencil vinyl just like any other kind of vinyl. It just kind of crumples up and it wouldn't really make it. So I don't recommend you reuse stencil vinyl. That's true, Kayla. He does show up occasionally in my Instagram stories, but it's very rare. And the more Instagram stories that I do, the more he's like, are you putting me on Instagram? So it's super, super rare. Oh, yeah. But if you guys have ever wondered why you don't hear more from Andrew or why I don't post with him more often, that's why. He just usually doesn't really want to be a part of the video stuff. Like, he's fine to do the background. He's super helpful. Like, when the internet is not working for me or when I'm having a tech issue, he is the first person on the, well, obviously he lives here, but he's also the first person on the scene to help me out. He's just not about the video life. Otherwise, I would love to have him do more stuff. He's just not about it. Oh, my mom's Roxanne Pilcher. Roseanne, your name is kind of close. My mom's name is Roxanne Pilcher. So everyone say hi to my mom for joining us. Candace is the camera shy one. Exactly. So Kristen, she said, could you paint the bottom first? So Kristen, I debated this like nobody's business. And the reason I decided to do the hello first is because, first of all, I wanted to make sure that the hello was straight. And I don't know why I thought I had to do that. Oh, because I knew this section was going to take longer to dry than just the letters. So then I would have to paint this whole section and wait for all of this to dry. And then I would have to put stencil vinyl directly on top of it. And I didn't want to do that with the paint possibly being wet. I, for some reason, thought it would be safer to do the hello first. But technically, could you do the bottom first? Absolutely. Especially if you weren't on a live video, and you had unlimited time, then you can do it whenever order you want. But that's the reason why I chose to do hello first, because I thought it would be easier to just do this part first, if that makes any sense. All right, folks. So I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm going to go ahead and mute my microphone because I don't want to blast your all's eardrums. So give me just a second. I'm going to mute my microphone and then I'm going to use my heat gun very, very lightly on this to help it dry. So give me just a hot second. I will turn myself, well, yeah, I'll let you guys see just this view. Well, you guys can see okay. I'm just going to mute my microphone and I'm going to be working on this area right here. All right, there we go. So that helped finish dry things super fast. There are still a couple of like spots that are slightly it looks slightly patchy, which means it's still drying just a little bit, but the heat gun really does help speed it along. If you guys decide to use a heat gun on any of your projects, just make sure that you don't overdo it. If you have an actual heat gun, like that is a Harbor Freight heat gun, and it gets extremely hot. So you can end up distorting your projects if you put too much heat on them. I just like to give it a little blast because sometimes that will speed up the process for us, and I like that idea because it's helpful. So while we're finishing up for the hello to dry, I'm just going to do a quick second coat on my spring because I don't want any of like the wood pattern to show through. I want it to be like a more opaque look on the spring cutout. And usually, I mean, the Starcraft chalk paint is amazing. It does a really, really good job of covering. With other chalk paints I've used, this would take like 4 coats. So is a second coat required? Probably not. I just prefer it that way. So I will usually do a second coat anyways, but it's really more your personal preference than anything. Like all the things. And then while we are letting the bottom dry after we paint this section and we are allowing that to dry, then we're going to work on the rolled paper flowers. And I'm so excited for that, you guys. I'm going to show you kind of an abbreviated version of a rolled paper flower tutorial. We're not going to go super, super in depth, but I have plenty of videos on rolled paper flowers. So if that's something that you're struggling with or that you're new to and you want to learn more about, I do have other videos that I can put in the comments for you all to show you how to do that more in depth. But this is a bit more of an advanced project. I wouldn't say it's advanced. It's just tedious, and there's like a lot of steps because there's a lot of painting, a lot of waiting for paint to dry, so it's not like complicated per se, but it just has a lot of steps to it. So I didn't want to spend a ton of time on any of the steps. Otherwise, this video would be a million hours long. And though I love hanging out with you guys, no one's going to rewatch a super, super long live. So I try to keep them at a reasonable amount of time, All right. I think that really helped with the coverage. So I like that a lot more. And I'm going to get like half dry paint all over my fingers, but you know what? That's okay. We're crafters. We make a mess. No big deal. Okay. And by the way, I am using a used container of white Starcraft chalk paint. Yours, of course, will be brand new. I just didn't want to open a brand new one because I already have one that is open. So I've actually got a ton of white Starcraft chalk paint because I keep buying it. And then I got it in Michael's mystery box back in the fall. And then I also got another one in this mystery box. So there's literally, I have a million containers of white Starcraft chalk paint. And thank goodness because I use it all the time. Okay, let's catch up on your comments. I love that mint color too. Love it, love it, love it. Kristen said, has anyone mixed the Starcraft chalk paint colors? Yes, girl, I have, and they look awesome. They work so well. It's super fun to see what color you can get. I'm telling you, Diana, the mint color is gorgeous, and it's so fun for spring. Yay! See you later, Stephanie. I agree. Yeah, it is hard to get the balance right and to get the exact color that you're going for. Okay, I think we're pretty much there. Yeah, I don't think painter's tape is going to hurt this. Actually, I'm going to do one more shot with the heat gun, and then we're going to go ahead and put painter's tape on this line. So I'm going to mute myself for just a second. Give me one more moment. All right, that's much better. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and take painter's tape and I'm going to put a line across where I have this pencil line. I know it's a little bit faint, so I'll show you guys. That's the pencil line that I created when we were figuring out where to put hello. All right. Alrighty, so I'm just going to follow that line. And in fact, I may go just a hair above that line in the hopes that we cover it up. Using our paint. Okay. I'm especially going to push my fingers down across this area because I want to make sure that this side is sealed off, but I might not press it in so much right over the hello. And I'll go ahead and put it right over the edges also, so that everything is kind of sealed off. Okay. And then my pencil line is literally just underneath the line because my hope is that we're going to cover a lot of that up with white StarCraft chalk paint. And this will definitely take a couple of layers because I want to make sure that this has a super, super bright white look to it. So now I'm going to go ahead and expand my newspaper because I need to make sure that I have some good coverage underneath my project. So I'll just take this Kroger ad and stick that underneath my project like this. Okay. Yes. Kayla said, does anyone else play the speed up music from Alex's other videos in their head when she mutes herself? That's normally what you would be seeing, and that's exactly how it would go if this was a muted or if this was a edited video. But hey, you guys know my style. I like my edited videos are like my sometimes the chalk paint is super hard to open, and we may have to have an appearance from Andrew because he may have to open my chalk paint. This chalk paint. Okay, let me tell y'all about this because I was playing with chalk paint this weekend and I had to get Andrew to open it. He had to use like a strap wrench thing. Actually, I'll just open one of my new containers if I have to do that. Yeah, I'm literally going to have to open up a new container simply so I can open it. So let me tell you what I learned about making sure that you keep your paint so that you can still continue to open it. So what I learned that you have to do is, first of all, remember that chalk paint is water-based. So because it's water-based, that means that you can use water to clean it up. So what I learned is that you do have to keep the threads of the jar like wiped off as much as you can. And if you ever like pour a bunch of paint out of the cup or something and you get it all over the sides, wipe it up like ASAP so that you don't get paint all over the threads and then it dries and then it's like super hard to open, because that is definitely a pain that I have with my chalk paint also. Oh, I didn't cut it far enough. There we go. So we'll just open up a brand new one. Not like I'm not going to use it anyways, because I use a ton of white chalk paint. That's probably my #1 most used color, honestly. Even though I love those other colors, like it has blush and mint and all kinds of other cutesy colors, I probably use white the most. Ooh, now there's paint all over my fingers, but that's okay. That's what makes it fun, is we're making a mess. All right, perfect. Oh, Tia has a good idea. I tapped the edges on the table to get mine open. Love that. You guys want me to do another mystery box so bad, and I'm still trying to get through this one. We will look at it at a later date when I am a little bit less overwhelmed with this stuff, but I think it's a great idea. I don't know how 143 feels about that, though. I don't know that they've ever had a teamed up mystery box, but we would make one heck of a team, wouldn't we? I'm referring to the comments. You guys are chatting about a mystery box, like a joint mystery box with Michael and I. Also, you guys would probably have to send Heather gifts or something, because she would have her work cut out for her. dealing with both Michael and I with a mystery box, because you guys, I ask for crazy stuff in my mystery boxes. Like, I see what boundaries we can push because I want to give you guys the best experience I possibly can. So I am forever asking all the hard questions, all the things. And because I used to work there, I think that makes me a little harder to deal with. Because I know all the possibilities, or at least I can ask the questions, and I'm not afraid to just be told no. So you guys would have to pray extra hard for Heather if we did a Joy Mystery Box, because her job would get a little harder. Oh. I love this chalk paint, you guys. I feel like I say that every time I open it, but it's true. I just love it. I love it. I used it on a little camper cutout this weekend. Or was that last? No, 2 weekends ago. 2 weekends ago. Not Easter weekend, but the weekend before. And it turned out to be so cute. Oh my gosh, it was so cute. The colors are so bright. And I think I only did one coat on that one, on any of the other colors, except the white. I did 2 coats on the white. White pretty much is always going to require 2 coats, but I just do love the coverage of this chalk paint, because some chalk paint is so stinking thin. I won't tell you guys the brand, but before Starcraft chalk paint existed, I bought I bought some chalk paint from a big box store that you guys may buy your groceries at, and it was awful. I literally had to do like 4 coats of white, and it's still, like, I could still see the wood grain through my project, and it was rough. It's actually in one of my videos from back in the fall, because I filmed it way before Starcraft chalk paint was a thing, and I didn't even know that, like, it was going to be available. So I used this chalk paint thinking, oh, it's chalk paint, this'll work. No go, not good. It was not a good decision. So I'm telling you, this chalk paint is a little on the pricey side. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. It's not cheap stuff, but it is good. It is good, good stuff. Okay. So I kind of did a second coat already, but I'm probably going to do a second coat over this second coat, because like I said, in this case, I'm looking for a super bright white look to this sign. So I'm going to go ahead and do a second one when this one dries. But that gave us really, really great coverage for a quote unquote first coat. It's kind of like 1.5 coats. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and set this aside, and it's about time to start working on paper flowers, because that's our next step. Because all we really need to do after this is we will need to glue the spring onto here. And then I guess I'll probably do the ribbon first, and then we'll add the paper flowers. But we need to create the paper flowers and then roll them. So you guys need to be able to see that process. Let's see. You guys have been talking about the Alex and Michael box for a little while. I think probably since the 100K live, when we went live together, you all were on to me right away. Right away. Kayla said they did have a VIP mystery box, but it was like an everybody box. And we just did like vinyl and stuff. We didn't do any blanks or anything. Diana said, Alex, you could get Kroger to sponsor your videos by always using their ads. I do. I always use the Kroger inserts underneath all of my projects. That's hilarious. I did not trip Michael. Jill, oh my gosh, he fell straight on the floor. He'll tell you that. And actually, before we do the roll paper flowers, let me explain, okay? So people keep asking me what Michael tripped over when he was here. In case you guys don't know what the heck I'm talking about, during my 100K celebration live, I had Michael over as my mystery guest, and during the live, he tripped on the floor and fell, and it was super funny, obviously completely unscripted. I had no idea that was going to happen, and neither did he, but People keep asking what he tripped over. Did I trip him? What the heck happened? Okay, so I know you guys can't see my floor back here, but I have a big rug in the middle of my floor, and all the way around it is like that vinyl, it like looks like fake hardwood flooring. And that stuff is super slippery if you have socks on. And so when Michael and I were switching places, because I needed to be able to get to the iPad to control the camera angles, Michael walked around me and one of his feet was not on the rug and he had socks on. And so he slipped on the actual flooring itself. So he didn't trip over anything. It was literally just the flooring, which probably makes it even funnier, to be honest. Like, it's not like there were a bunch of wires around or anything like that. That's what made it even funnier. And he turned it into his own GIF and sent it to me like the next day. And I was like crying from laughing. Like, literally, it was so funny. Leanne said, are you painting the outside edges? You know, Leanne, if I was more dedicated, I would be, but I'm not going to worry about it in this project. Diana said, what type of brush do you use with the chalk paint? So really, there's not a specific brush that I would recommend. The brushes that I like the most are these kind. They have like the flat bottom, and this is a bigger one, obviously, so it covers more surface area more quickly. These are my personal favorite paintbrush, but I see a lot of people use like the chip paint brushes. Honestly, there's a lot of options there. There's a lot of options for basically whatever you like. Okay, so I'm going to get ready to roll the, yeah, it was super, super funny. You can see it's towards the end of the 100K live if you guys want to go back and watch it. Literally so funny, I could die. Made me laugh so hard. But I'm going to clean up for a second and scoot some of these things out of the way, and then I'm going to roll for you the, screen capture clip that I recorded earlier when I was getting the flowers ready, because there is a trick to making sure that you utilize a lot of your surface area of your paper, because if you don't do this trick, then Design Space will tell you that you can only put like 1 or 2 flowers on a piece of paper, and that's totally not true. I'm going to show you how you can fit 4 flowers all on the same piece of 12 by 12 paper using my Design Space little trick that I'm going to show you in the screen capture. But while you guys are watching that, I am going to cut my last mat of flowers. I was able to cut 2 of them, but I need to cut 1 more to make sure that I have as many flowers as I want because I love the flowers. So I'm all about it. I'm also going to turn my glue gun on so it can start heating up. Okay. I'll stick this. I like throw trash underneath my table because I'm a hot mess during lives. Okay, so now that everything is all cleared off for me, I'm going to go ahead and roll the second part of the screen capture, which is going to tell you all about paper flowers. And when we come back, we're going to roll the flowers and do all the things and finish up this door hanger. All right, give me just a second here. It's going to be this second one. Uh-oh, hold on. I got to fix around some stuff. Give me just a second. There we go. Alrighty, y'all, enjoy. And also remember that my microphone's going to be muted, so if you need anything, talk to me through the comments. So now that we're a little farther along in our door hanger, let's take a look at the rolled paper flower SVGs that were also included in the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box and how to format them. Because if you simply put these in your Design Space account and then go to the prep screen, Design Space is going to tell you that you can only fit a couple of these per piece of 12 by 12 cardstock, and that is simply not true. So I'm going to show you how to reformat these flowers to maximize your space and use the maximum amount of paper that we can. So of course, if you got the mystery box, go ahead and upload the SVG files that were labeled as rolled paper flowers. If you did not get a mystery box, that's okay too. You can use any rolled paper flower file to repeat this same process. So for now, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and all I did was resize my SVG files to be a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to ungroup them so that I can work with them separately. Now we need to go ahead and insert a square that's going to represent our cutting mat, because we are going to arrange these flowers on a cutting mat and then attach them in place so that we know that they can actually fit on a 12 by 12 piece of paper. But if you guys are familiar with Design Space, you already know that Design Space leaves a 1/4 inch border all the way around your mat in case of an error, which means that our actual maximum cutting width is 11.5 inches, not 12 inches. So when we go to the basic shapes panel and we insert a square, we are going to make our square only 11.5 inches wide by 11.5 inches. And that's going to represent the actual amount of room that we have to cut. Then I'm just going to change this to a lighter color so that it's a little bit easier to see. Then we're going to take our flowers and we're going to arrange them on the mat in a certain specific way so that we can fit as much out of them as possible. Now see how the flower is disappearing behind the square? All we need to do is take the square and drag it, drop it to the bottom of the layers panel. That way everything fits really well on top. One great thing about these SVG files that I absolutely love is that they're basically the exact same in both directions. So this is going to be a little bit easier because these are essentially like 4 squares that we are fitting on our cutting mat. So once we have the first flower on there, you can see that the width is 4.995. So let's actually go ahead and try to make it, let's see if we can make it 6 inches wide. We may not be able to do that. We may have to make it a little smaller, but we are going to give it a shot. Then another trick to fitting 4 flowers on a piece of 12 by 12 paper is taking the end of the tail of the spiral and rotating the flower so that tail is going in towards the center of the mat because that's actually a little bit of dead space in the center. And so putting the tails towards the center is going to help us fit more on the mat. Then I'm going to go over to the layers panel and choose duplicate. And then I'm going to do the same thing where I rotate this other flower so that my tail is towards the center of the mat. Oh, darn. Okay. So we're seeing now that this is a little bit too big. So let's try making our flowers maybe 5.5 inches wide. And even if they're slightly different sizes, you're really never going to be able to tell. So it's no big deal if there's like a 1/2 inch difference between the spirals. So now you can see that I've carefully placed my petals so that there's just a little bit of space in between them and they're super close. So let's try and just duplicate these 2 for the bottom and see if they all 4 fit. So in order to select these flowers, I'm going to click on it and then hold down the shift key and click on the other flower to select both at the same time. Then I'm going to duplicate these 2 and bring them down towards the bottom. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip them around. So I'm going to put the other 6 inch flower on this side and turn the tail in towards the center. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this 5.5 inch flower, and I think everything is going to fit great. Let's see, it's going to be a close fit. I think that we can do it. So we'll just keep on rotating this tail. And yes, we got it. Okay, so now that we have everything and it all fits on an 11.5 by 11.5 inch square, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the eyeball on the layers panel to hide the square. And then I'm going to attach all 4 of these flowers together so that they cut in this exact arrangement. So here's one mat of rolled paper flowers, and then we're just going to duplicate that same process for the other type of flower. The petals are just a little bit more, I don't know, the word that comes to my mind is spiky. It's probably not the best name for it, but these little bit spikier petals are going to create kind of a different shape of the flower. So I want to do at least a mat of each. So these are also exactly the same dimension in both directions. So I'm going to try that same trick of making one of these 5.5 inches and making the other one 6 inches and seeing if we can fit all of this on one mat. And you can get super close to the borders because this is exactly how much room your Cricut has to cut. So we should be able to max it all the way out to the edges, and then we'll still have a 1/4 inch border all the way around. Ooh, and in fact, that's actually looking a little bit small, so maybe we can increase the size to 6 inches or something close. There we go. We'll scoot the mat back and see what we can do here. Oh, and that's a 5.5. Okay. So we'll change this one to 6 inches as well and see if we can fit it on there. Ooh, that might be a little bit close. Okay, let's try this one at maybe 5.9 inches. I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to rolled paper flowers, I absolutely hate wasting a bunch of my paper knowing that a bunch of space didn't have to be, or like it could have been taken up and I didn't utilize it. So I literally will utilize every 1/4 inch of my paper. Awesome. Okay, I think we got it. So since it looks good on the top, I'm going to follow that same process of selecting both and duplicating. And then I'm actually going to try just using the flip function at the top and trying flip vertically. Oh, and it didn't quite work. So we'll have to do a little bit of adjusting again. Okay. So we've got that one looking pretty good. Let's see what we can do with this tail on this other flower. That one's looking a little bit big. Let's try this one at maybe 5.75 inches. So these petals are a little bit taller, and I think that's why it's not quite working as well. But that's okay. We're still going to take up every little bit of paper that we can. Okay, you guys, it was a close one, but I think we got it. We're in the clear here, and we're in the clear here. So now I'll go ahead and hide the background again and attach the 4 of these as well. Then I am going to make them different colors because I want to do a total of 3 mats. So I'm going to do 2 mats of these style of flowers and then just 1 mat of the spikier looking flowers. So I'm going to make them all different colors to match the paper that I have. And now it's time to cut them. So I'm first going to save my project though. That was a lot of work, so I would hate to have to redo it in case something happens with Design Space. Now we're going to click the green Make It button and we're going to double check that everything looks good. Sweet. And see, everything fits on a 12 by 12 mat when we do it this way. I don't know why that preview looks empty, but hopefully my flowers are on there. So we'll click the green Continue button. And I don't see my 3rd mat there, but that's okay because we can always cut this light pink mat again, so no big deal. So I'm going to be using 80-pound cardstock, which means I like to use the medium cardstock setting that looks something like this. And then I'm going to click the checkbox to say remember material settings so that I don't have to reset the cut settings on every single mat. Now I'm going to hop over to my Cricut machine and cut out all these flowers. Hey y'all, we're back. All right, let me put you back overhead. I've been rolling some flowers. I cut that last mat while you all were watching that video. I was going to start rolling them because I'm not going to explain every single one. I'll walk you guys kind of slowly through one of the flowers and then I'll just kind of roll a little bit more quickly so that we can get this all done. So I'll roll this one and then don't worry, I'll explain. Candace said, I hate wasting paper too. Me too, sister. That is so annoying, especially when you're making a lot of paper flowers. It really does make like a big difference. Like it's a lot. It takes a lot of paper. And so literally you got to make every single piece of paper count. And I actually may walk around to the other side and move my Cricut or at least pull my glue gun a little closer because right now it's kind of far away. So hang tight for just a second with me. then I will show you all the things. And our paint is drying, so that's a good sign. We're getting there. What'd you say? Scared me for a second. What scared you, Elizabeth? Maybe it is, D, a left-handed OCD thing. I don't know. It like drives me crazy. Okay. Yeah. So give me a second. I'm going to walk around and I'm going to, well, no, I don't think I need to move my Cricut. I'll scoot it back. And then I have my glue gun on extension cord. So I'll bring it closer and then put y'all overhead so you can see what I'm doing. All right. Let me put us back here. There we go. All right, so now we're back. Yes, it does save a lot of time by cutting four at once as well. Okay, so these are what all of my paper flowers look like. There's just a big pile of paper. So let me show you what it looks like to roll a paper flower. So this is what I refer to as a spiral. And I have a few roll paper flower videos. I have one where you can learn to make a roll paper flower shadow box. And I have another one that's just like a straight up roll paper flower tutorial. Also, my second video ever was a roll paper flower video, and it was not a very good video. It actually has a lot of views. For some reason, YouTube decided to pick it up. So, the black screen. Okay, yeah, so Elizabeth, the reason why I added that in this time is because when I am looking at my iPad, like controlling this for all of you, I can't tell like when the video ends. It just shows me like the design space screen, and I'm like, I don't know if that's finished or not. So it's a little hard to tell. So I put the black screen in there so that I would know like when I can switch myself back over. But that's a fair point, especially after last week, because I know you were with us. Okay, so I have several videos on that topic, and in fact, let me post them real quick, and then I will show you how, in a basic sense, how to roll this. But if you want to learn more about paper flowers and it's like truly something you've never done, then I recommend that you watch one of these more basic tutorials, because it will literally walk you like all the way through. Let me see if I have a playlist actually, because I have a couple I want to link for you. I have like Cricut paper flowers, but there's a lot of flowers in it. A lot of different types of flowers too. So let me see. Okay. Well, I have the full playlist here, so let me grab that. And then if you guys want to go through this playlist, you'll see the pictures that show you some pictures that show you what type is what. Oh, thanks, Kristen. She said the shadow box one was amazing. Yeah, so that's like, if you want to get real crazy, if you want to get real crazy with paper flowers and do a shadow box, that is definitely the video for you. But if you want to just learn how to do them, that's the whole playlist on all the different types of paper flowers that I have. Okay, so we're looking at a spiral. This is what I call this thing. It's a paper flower spiral. And when you're looking at it, this little guy is actually, this little guy in the center, this is actually going to be the very bottom of your paper flower. If I can grab it, I'll fold it over for you. This is going to be the bottom of your paper flower, and this tail at the end is actually going to be where you start. Now, I like to use a quilling tool. It looks like this for my rolled paper flowers. There is a very thin little slot in the metal end of the quilling tool, and that's what I use to hold it in place, hold the center in place so we get a nice tight center. But the other thing you can use if you don't own a quilling tool yet, or you can buy one from my Amazon store, these ones that I have are linked in my Amazon store if you want to check that out. You can also use Cricut reverse tweezers. Sorry, y'all, excuse me. You can also use Cricut reverse tweezers because you have to pinch them to open them, and then when you let it go, they automatically stay closed. So those work well for this as well. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that tail, and you're either going to pinch the tail in your quilling tool like this, you're going to put it in the slot, or you can pinch it in your reverse tweezers, and then you're just going to start rolling. And the goal is to keep the bottom nice and even as you roll. That's how you get like a nice, pretty, perfect flower. But you'll see me when I speed up and do these other flowers, I will not worry about keeping it even. So from a technique standpoint, I think it's important to know, but from a real life standpoint, that's not always going to happen. Like, see, we're already going haywire, and that's okay. So you can either roll this all the way up on the quilling tool, or once the quilling tool, like the end starts to get a little crazy, you can just pull the quilling tool or the tweezers out and set it aside. Then you can finish rolling the paper flower in between your fingers. So I like to have my thumb on the bottom and my first finger on the top. And I just like to roll the outside. So the closer that we get to the bottom, obviously, is the outside of the flower. The more important part is to keep the inside nice and tight. That's what makes it look realistic. And that's why it's important to start with either the tweezers or the quilling tool. So then you're just gonna roll all the way out like this. And then I usually take this little bottom flap and bend it back because that's gonna be my bottom. Then what I do is, this is the bottom side of the flower. I like to put the top side down on the table and just kind of let it unroll in between my fingers to give it a little bit more size and just make it look a little bit more natural. Kind of let the flower open up some. But if you don't want to let it open up like crazy, you can kind of keep it between your fingers like I did, so that you're still kind of controlling how much the paper unrolls. Then you're just going to take a glue gun and you're going to give lots of generous glue in the bottom. And hopefully you won't be starting a new glue stick like me. Oh. You'll just use lots of generous hot glue on the bottom to keep all that paper in place. You don't need to worry about the bottom being pretty because no one is ever going to see it. Then, once you have a generous amount of hot glue on the bottom, you'll use a quilling tool or something else to push the flap over and stick it in all of that hot glue and allow it to set. Do not use your fingers for this because it's going to be very, very hot. Very, very hot. Oh yeah, some people do use a dowel rod. That's a good point. Diana said, I saw someone do it with a drill, but I can't remember who. I have seen that done too, where people will put a bobby pin in the end of a drill and roll up their flowers. I guess that's fine. I just don't see the point. I can roll them pretty quickly by myself. And then when you flip it over, you have a super cute paper flower. And like, it really is that easy, you guys. It really is that easy. You feel like you're messing it up. I do like to leave mine flipped over while the glue is finished setting. So I normally don't flip it over and set it on the table with the glue side down. I'll leave it on its top like that. Yep, and Renee said she just ordered a quilling tool from my Amazon shop. Awesome, Renee. I love these guys. I have actually bought 2 sets of this exact quilling tool because the quilling tool itself was actually falling out of my other one because I used it so much. So it's super, super easy to do. So now I'm going to speed the process up and I'm just going to get these guys done. I may not use every single flower that I cut because I cut a total of 12 flowers. I don't know that I'm going to need a full 12 flowers. I just wanted to have the option, and I wanted to show you guys like some options for your door hanger. You obviously don't have to make it the same way as me, but I really, really like the look of 3D rolled paper flowers on flat objects. I just think it makes it look so cute. And I love the 3D element along with the 3D version of the spring. Like, so fun. So I'm going to pull mine nice and tight. The other thing I want to talk about too is paper. So I used, and what you have in your mystery box, if you got one, is 80-pound cardstock. And I really like to use either 80-pound or 60-pound cardstock. I don't really recommend going with any heavier paper than that, just because it doesn't hold the curl quite as well. And I do like working with the 80-pound cardstock because it's a lot less likely to break. Like when you are taking a bunch of flowers off the mat and there's like paper scraps everywhere, I like to use the 80-pound because it can withstand a lot more than the others can. And I'll show you guys the little paper flower army I have sitting over here. I just think that I love roll paper flowers. I actually have, if you guys are all access members of Creative Fabrica, I have a Creative Fabrica class on making a 3D sign using rolled paper flowers. And honestly, that turned out to be one of my favorite projects that I've ever done for them. If you haven't seen that, definitely go check it out because, it turned out so cute. So, so cute. Oh, Kristen said rolled paper flowers I can do. The other kind that you find on Design Space, not so much. Okay, so Kristen, when you use the paper flower SVG that I designed with 143 for you, you guys are going to have your life change. Because I have also tried to do some of the paper flowers in Design Space, and I personally think just the way that they've been designed, they are hard. They're really, really hard to do. I have done very few straight from Design Space successfully. So I will be interested to hear what you have to say about when I teach you how to do it later this week. And also, I want to give you guys a heads up while we are chatting. So I have to record the paper flower video because it's going to take forever. And there's a small chance that I may not get it recorded this week. So I may end up flipping one of the other projects in place of the paper flower one. Don't worry, if you see that happening, we are still going to do the paper flowers. I just need to make sure that I have time to record it and edit it. And I've got some other fun projects I'm working on this week, and so I may not get to it. But I'll keep you guys posted. I just wanted to let you know in case you saw it so that nobody panics, thinks that we're skipping out on paper flowers, because if you guys know me, you know how much I love paper flowers and that I would literally never do that. Yes, Diana, definitely go check it out. So it's under the classes section. It's called Creative Fabrica Classes, and you can actually follow me as like an instructor or something on their site over there. I posted a couple videos, and I'm going to be posting several more. D said, Alex, do you ever put a tiny amount of glue on the tips of flowers and sprinkle or dip them in glitter? You know, that's never something that I've experimented with. I have experimented with adding alcohol ink to the tips, and that looks very, very pretty. So I love that. But no, I have never done glitter on the edges, but you totally could. It would be super pretty. Super, super pretty. There are so many possibilities with these flowers, y'all. That's another reason why I love them so much. There are so many ways to craft with them. You can make three-dimensional signs. You can make bouquets. You can cut rolled paper flowers out of felt, or even like the layered paper flowers out of felt, and they're super pretty to do that way. I have a really short abbreviated video on how to do felt rolled paper flowers also. Yes, Tina, I can link my Amazon store for you. Give me just a second. It's also in the description of the video too. But I know many of you guys, especially if you're on mobile, it's kind of hard to get to the video description. So another thing that I'm looking for when I'm looking at paper like this, that's like the 80-pound textured, is I have texture on one side of my paper and then it's flat on the other side. So I like to leave the texture side facing out, but that's just a personal preference. So you may want to pay attention to that with which direction you roll your flowers in, because that texture can change the look of the flower a little bit. So just something to keep in mind for you. But it's honestly, it's really hard to mess these up, guys. But you do make sure you want to use a tool. If you just try to do this using your fingers, chances are that it will not turn out as well. And that's because the centers will not be quite as tight. That tight center is really what makes the paper flowers look really, really pretty and really, really refined. No, I've never done the drill and the bobby pin thing. I've never done it, but some people do and they love it. I just have never tried it. But I totally understand. I have like some mild carpal tunnel, but if you have like severe carpal tunnel or arthritis, this probably is not the best project for you, and you may have to attempt the bobby pin in a drill because that would be intense. When I made the shadow box video, oh my goodness, what I did is I cut a bunch of flowers while I was working on other things, because the flowers do take a little bit to just like the mats themselves take a long time to cut. And then what I did is I actually rolled them while watching Christmas movies because they took forever to roll. Forever and a day. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll a couple more, and then I'm going to see how many I actually want to use on my door hanger. But like, look how cute that textured flower is. So this is the one that I was calling like the spiky petal. Even though it looked spiky, I mean, it looks super cute on here. And the outside of it ended up being a little bit loose. But that's okay. Like, even though the bottoms of this look like kind of a hot mess, the tops of them end up looking so pretty. And you are going to end up with hot glue strings everywhere, so I'll just go ahead and apologize now because that's just kind of how it works. All right, we're going to take a brief pause from rolling flowers, and we are going to paint a second. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me zoom out here. There we go. We are going to paint a second. Actually, I'm going to move my phone a little bit here. There we go. Sorry, y'all. Hang on. That way you can see it a little bit better. Boom. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and paint a second coat on here. So that, do you guys see how, like, when we did the first, the 1.5 coat that we did before, it looked like it was really well covered, but then as the paint dries, it really kind of dries and you can still see the texture of the wood through it, which, like I said, not a bad thing. It's just not the look I'm going for. So that's why I want to do a second thick coat to give this a bright white look. You can really start to see the difference with that second coat and that first coat. That is exactly why I like to do it. Plus, I mean, of course, as we all know, white is like the lightest color, so it's the easiest for other colors and other textures to show through. So I think it makes perfect sense. And I don't think that it makes the StarCraft chalk paint like bad because we have to do 2 coats, because I'm pretty sure basically every chalk paint on the planet you would probably have to do 2 coats for. All right, y'all, we're in the home stretch, I promise. I know this has been a long live, so thank you guys for hanging with me. I always love hanging out with you, but sometimes I worry that my my videos are a little long for all of you because I know you've got stuff going on. And plus, I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting hungry. Here on Eastern time, it's 5:45, so it's about time to be thinking about dinner. Okay. So I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to seal up my chalk paint, and then I will probably peel the tape off here in a couple minutes. I don't want to let it completely dry if I can help it, but if it does completely dry, that'll be okay too. Renee said, because of the paper flowers, I am assuming this would not be good for front door. Yeah, probably not, honestly, Renee, especially if you don't have a covered porch. If you have a covered porch, I feel like it would actually probably be all right. But if you don't have that, then I probably would not put this on your front porch. Renee said, no worries, leftovers tonight. I utilized leftovers last night, and so I'm going to have to cook something tonight. But I always whenever I make my grocery list, I always make a meal plan first because my brain does not function without a plan, especially when I'm hungry. So that really helps because I know that I can look back at my meal plan and be like, okay, what are my options tonight? Here is what I have the things for. And then, of course, I have extra supplies also in case we decide to make something else. That's what Dee said too. Cindy said, mine is going between the storm and the regular door. Well, there you go. There's a great compromise, Cindy. Yeah, that's what I think too. I have a covered porch, so like this will be fine on my front door. And I have like a pretty large covered porch. I mean, not huge, but large enough that like my front door does not get wet very often. So this would be fine for mine, but it does kind of depend. And also, this is so cute that I personally think you could turn this into a wall hanging too. Ow, I just got hot glue on my finger. I definitely don't feel like my fingers are as sensitive as other people's because of how many times I've gotten hot glue on my fingers. But honestly, it still never feels good. Never feels good to burn yourself with hot glue. Oh, there you go, Kristen. She said hers is going on her craft room door. That's a great idea. I actually don't have a sign on my craft room door, which is probably probably not a very good crafter of me that I haven't made something for my own crafty front door. Okay, I'm gonna do one more pink and one more purple, and then we're gonna test it out on the door hanger. We're gonna see how they look. So we gotta be wrapping this baby up. Yeah, Renee said my front door gets very wet, so my sign will go in my foyer. There you go. Still a great piece of spring decor. And I always end up cutting extra paper flowers, so that's why I end up with so many. Because I always cut more than what I think I need because they take so long to cut anyways, and I like to cut them, like I showed you guys in Design Space, in like multiples of 4. So I always end up with a few extra. And then I have really cute embellishments for whenever I need them. There we go. Alrighty. Okay. Got hot glue on that guy. And then I like to hold, like especially with the needle of my quilling tool, I know that looks a little far away, so I'll zoom in for you guys. The needle of my quilling tool does a really good job of holding that bottom flap in place without me having to sacrifice my fingers. And then I let the rest of it sit upside down, so I don't worry about the fact that the glue is not totally set. Okay, so I'm also going to go ahead and peel the tape from our door hanger now, so I don't let it dry for too long. We're going to hope that we had a good clean line. Everybody say a prayer. You guys ever do that when you're pulling something off? You're like, please be a clean line. Please be a clean line. And it actually turned out pretty good. There's like a couple of places that like I can see in person that are not absolutely perfect, but honestly, like it looks really good. This turned out so cute, you guys. Love it. So when that completely dries, I will hot glue the spring on. Oh, you can't even see that. Sorry. When that completely dries, I will hot glue the spring on it in a minute. But now I can roll one more flower and we can try out the look of that on the top of our door hanger. That's another reason why, well, there's just a million reasons basically why I really love roll paper flowers. But another one of them is that I love when I can try my projects out, like almost give it a trial before I glue anything down. So I can put all my flowers in place and find the right placement before I glue anything so that I know for sure that I'm going to like it. So that works out really well. This is like the opposite direction for me. You guys know when you're doing something and you suddenly do the other side that you're like less comfortable with, how awkward that feels, especially if you're left-handed and you do something for like right-handed people and you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I feel like that when I roll in this direction with rolled paper flowers, but I wanted to make sure that I put the texture on the outside of the flower. So sometimes you got to roll in a little bit of an awkward way. There we go. Okay, beautiful. Alrighty. We'll glue this baby and then we'll try it on the door hanger. Okay. I also really love having a wireless glue gun for my project. I know it is currently covered by my face, but I have the Lynn Lily wireless glue gun. Plus, it's super pretty, but I don't know if you guys can tell, this is supposed to be stuck onto the base, and I dropped the base and I broke this part off. But this is like a silicone base so that when hot glue drips out at the end of your hot glue gun as it's warming up, then it doesn't get all over the place, which I love. So then I just have to scoot this thing around. Oh no. Stuck my quilling tool in the hot glue, but that's all right. I know, Leanna. It's going to see so cute. Yeah, Jay, no, sorry, Joy. Yeah, you can totally wing this and put something together. I also linked similar materials in the description if you want to check that out, because I showed you what I would recommend you use. And then in the screen capture, I showed you how I would layer all the items to make a 3D effect. So I think you guys can totally do this, even if you did not get a mystery box. Okay, so now we have a whole army of rolled paper flowers, and now we're going to go ahead and try these on towards the top and see what they look like. All right, that white paint is still a little wet, so we're not quite ready to glue the spring, but we can try out around here. So I bought some ribbon for this. I got some black and white gingham ribbon that looks like this, and that's what I'm going to be attaching through the holes. And I'm trying to decide how I'm going to do it, because some of the door hangers I saw, people put the ribbon in through the back and then they tied a bow here in the center. But if you guys know me, you know that I'm terrible at bows and I absolutely hate tying them. So I actually think I'm probably going to put ribbon through the center like this and then bring it out the back and then tie it at the top. So that's my plan. And then I'm going to add paper flowers on top, which means I probably need to go ahead and just measure my ribbon out and go ahead and do this first. Because if I'm going to put, my scissors go? Where did you go, scissors? Oh, probably in here. Yep. All right, so I'm going to measure this first because I'm probably going to end up gluing some of the, I'm going to end up gluing some of the flowers like possibly onto the ribbon. I'm just trying to measure this and decide how much. I always undercut my ribbon. So I'm trying to cut it super, super long so that I know that I have a little bit of extra room. Isn't that cute ribbon, Diana? I love it. Yeah, I did think about using some Gorilla Glue. I thought so too. Candace said bows aren't her thing either. I feel so much better when I hear about crafters who are not very bowy like me. I feel like that's like a signature thing of a crafty lady, is to be able to tie a really cute bow, and I can't. I am literally incapable. It's just not my thing. And plus, honestly, like, bows aren't really my style anyway, so that, like, it makes me a little sad, but then I'm like, I can find something more creative because I like other stuff a lot better. So what I was thinking about is doing my ribbon like this, and then I'll just measure it up super even, and then I'll figure out where I'm going to tie it, and then I'll be able to tie the ribbon at the top. Does that make sense? So I'll tie wherever I'm going to hang it from, then I'll use this to tie the tie. So now that I have this in here, now I can start to place these rolled paper flowers around the holes and kind of see how I want it to look. Oop, that one's a little bit wide there. I think that's a better look for us. So we could do something like that where we're just like literally doing a little arch over the top. But I kind of thought about doing something a little bit more like organic and kind of just playing around here with a look like that. Something like that, maybe. What do you guys think? Yeah, I think I like that better. I don't necessarily want it to just be super perfect over the center of it. And Ashley can't do bows to save her life either. See, I'm telling you, I'm with you. Oh yeah, so lots of you are not bow people. Awesome. Then we are all in good company. Okay, well, since I really like that, actually, I think I'm just going to go ahead and kind of start gluing the bottoms down. So this is how I like to do my rolled paper flower projects, is I like to like lay my flowers out, and then I'll just glue one at a time based on where I like my flowers. So I'll start with the bottom of this one, and I'm going to need another hot glue stick here. Here in a second, there we go. And I don't think they're going to need a ton of hot glue really either, because it's not like they're going to be pulled on. But I am going to leave some space for my ribbon to move in case I ever need to change my ribbon out. I actually don't think, whoops, well, hold on. Then I messed up the bottom of my, oh, this was the newest flower. I don't think it was completely set yet. So I'll add some extra glue there and just put it back. That'll be all right. Okay, then I'm gonna do this one next. And I'm going to stick it near the hole where the ribbon is threaded, but I'm going to leave the hole nice and clear in case I ever decide, like I said, to change it out. I want to be able to have the freedom to do that. So as you can see, I chose to use a total of 3 different colors for my door hanger, but you guys are welcome to use as many or as few flowers as you want. It's totally up to you. Now, when you're looking at your cardstock that you received in your mystery box, the flowers or the cardstock that you got that has a lot of the same color, those should ideally be saved for your giant paper flower project. So I would use some of the sheets that you have like just 1 or 2 of for your paper flower projects if you want to craft along the same way that I did. But of course, take your creative liberty, do whatever you want with it. I just think personally, the way that I like to look at giant paper flowers, I like them all to be the same color. So I don't like to do multiple colors in giant paper flowers. That is not a look that I prefer. So that's why I gave you guys or tried to give you all the same color of paper, even if we have different paper colors themselves. But of course, I'm sure some of y'all will make beautiful ones and totally shock me and totally change my mind. Oh, yes. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks for hanging out so long. So you're loving the longer live. I'm sorry. I said that I would post my Amazon store and then I totally forgot. If you guys don't already follow Ashley over at Chip Builds, be sure to go hang out. Ashley is awesome, and she talk about someone who is just like a true maker. Ashley is just super well versed in so many different things. She knows so much about lasers and 3D printing and like cutting stained glass and like all these cool things that are like totally in a different wheelhouse than me, and I really love that about her. So if you guys are not already following Ashley, definitely make sure that you go check her out. She has some really, really awesome content that I know some of you would really love, especially if you're interested in like lasers at some point and stuff like that. She is definitely going to be your cup of tea. Okay, y'all. Now, do we think we need, I feel like we need one more flower right here. And we'll leave it a little asymmetrical, but I want to use a pink flower. I don't really like another purple flower that close. Oh, well, I have this one. No. I'm going to use a pink one. I'm going to make another pink one and then I'll be done. You're welcome, Ashley. Of course. Yes, and everyone talks about your cup holders. Ashley, I need to get on your Etsy shop and order one of your like tumbler holders. I've heard actually several people say that about your tumbler holders. And I need to grab one myself. Yes, Kathy, the quilling tool is a game changer. I'm telling you. Trying to do paper flowers without it, it's just not going to have the same result. And so the set, it comes in a set of 3, and these come in blue or pink. And I really only use that one out of the set, but it's really, really reasonable. It's like $10 or less. We'll have to check out your new tools, Ashley. Whoop, almost got my finger. You guys, I was like 2 centimeters away from just totally frying my first finger just now in hot glue. That was super, super close. Super close. But we made it. Okay, we're going to have to let that one sit for a moment because If the glue's not fully set, then it could break apart on the thing. And then it will be done with our flowers. But you guys, okay. Oh my gosh, there's glue strings everywhere. Hold on. Okay, so now it is time to add the spring. Look how cute this is turning out. I am literally freaking out, and I have glue strings literally all over me because, hello, I'm a crafter. Ashley said, well, next month. Listen, sister, I'm with you. In fact, Ashley, did I ever get back with you with a date that we were going to have a Zoom meeting? I was just thinking about you this morning, and I was like, did I have a dream that I got back to her? Did I actually get back to her? That is literally the state of my life right now. Like, talk about a hot mess, my friends. Your girl is a hot mess right now, but really in a good way, because I have a lot of projects going on, so it's not like it's a bad thing at all. It's a great thing. It's just a little messy getting it all organized. Oh, all right. So I just used a bunch of hot glue on the back. I'm going to try to center spring as best I can and then push it down. Oh my gosh, you guys. I am actually in love. Like, I'm actually in love with this sign. Actually in love with this craft. We'll have to see if any of the other mystery box crafts can actually beat this one, because this may end up being my favorite. It really might. Oh, you guys. This is so cute. I could literally lose it. Do you guys ever do that? You're like, my heart is literally going to explode because I'm so happy seeing this project all finished. Look how cute. Okay, hold on. Let me take my face away so you guys can see it a little bit better, because I know my little face is like stuck in the corner there. Okay. Take a look at how cute this is. Are you kidding me? And this may not be like your guys' exact aesthetic or color scheme, but if you guys know me, you already know this is a project that absolutely looks like DIY Alex, with mint and purple and pink and turquoise. In fact, it's basically all my brand colors, which is literally perfect for me. So for those of you who are skeptical about the black and white color scheme, what do you think? Do you think the pop of color fixed it up? Are you still not a fan? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Oh, thank you, Cheryl and Roseanne and Diana and Ashley and Kristen. Loving it. Loving it, loving it. Kristen said, would wood glue be better at attaching the spring? Yeah, probably. Especially if you were going to use this outside, wood glue is probably a safer bet. For sure. Diana said, what is Ashley's channel? Diana, if you just click on her name on Chipped Builds is her channel name, but if you just click on her name where she's chatting in the live chat, then you'll be able to go to her channel super easily. Yay! Yes, Cindy, I'm so excited. I hope you learn to make these flowers too. I'll give you guys a little bit of a close-up, and then I'll show you a front view, and you can see the whole thing from the front. Thanks, Dee. Thanks, guys. All right, give me just a second here. Let me clean up a few things so I don't get paint and stuff everywhere, and then I will change to a front view, and we will wrap this baby up. Oh, you guys. It's so cute. Okay. Kathy, so this, the hello that we did, this was in, I stenciled this with vinyl. So the hello is technically paint. Let me tie it real quick. And even though it's going to look like a hot mess, that's okay. And the ribbon is from Michaels, by the way, if you guys want to check this out. I linked it for you in the description. It's from Michaels. But you can use any ribbon you have laying around. I just didn't happen to have black and white buffalo plaid. And this is 7/8 inch ribbon, by the way. There. So that's not a terrible bow. Not a super cute bow, but like a doable bow. So here is how our door hanger turned out. You guys, I had so much fun crafting with you today. So thank you so much for hanging out with me and bearing with me. Don't forget that if you got the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box or if you just want to show me your crafts, it doesn't even have to be mystery box craft. Be sure that you send it to me on social media. Join my Facebook group, which is linked down in the description. It's the All the Things Cricut and Crafty with DIY Alex. That is by far the best place to share pictures with me. But of course, you can message me on any social media platform, and I would love to see what you guys are crafting. If you haven't already, please also make sure that you subscribe to DIY Alex, because I would never want you to miss a new video. I put out videos at least every single week, and the next couple of months are going to be pretty fun around here. So I suggest that you subscribe, just because I wouldn't want you to miss out. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I love you all, and I'll see you real soon. Bye, guys.